in front of a live studio audience, it's the Dicebreaker Podcast with your host, Alex Meehan.
Hello, everyone. This is the Dicebreaker Podcast. I don't know who that was. It was like a ghost. It was God.
I really like the Alex Meehan bit at the end because it's just, it's a bit different today.
It's
the
a
ghost
shock.
knows it.
Well, because, usually Mr. Matt Jarvis, editor-in-chief, is in this particular metaphorical chair. But he is not able to host this week. So, I don't know. He's stuck in... he's stuck in a room. They won't let him out.
He's just stuck. You don't need any more context other than that. He's just stuck. Okay.
Yeah. He'll find his way out. Don't worry. No, I have stepped up to the plate as this week's podcast host for the Dicebreaker Podcast, which you're watching right now. Hello, everyone. As God said, this is filmed to a sort of live studio audience every Friday, 2 p.m. BST. And I'm going to introduce our other wonderful guests that we have here today. Hello, Liv Kennedy.
Oh, hello. Hi, Alex. How are you? It's all right. Thank you so much for having me. I've always wanted to be in this very seat, so thank you.
Yeah, your enthusiasm is almost too much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Look, if I don't laugh, I'll cry, and if I don't do anything, I'll not do anything. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Who's this with us today?
I enjoy your politeness. We have all the way from the US. It's Chase Carter, our contributor.
Howdy! Thanks for having me.
Yeah, he's here. We've lured him back in.
Mm-hmm.
We put a little bit of cheese in the doorway.
Yeah, just pecan pralines and barbecue, and that's how you get a Southern boy in the room.
Yeah, that's how you get a Southern boy.
So you put that underneath the giant box with a stick, and then you just pull it.
Yeah, and then you pull the stick out. Box goes down. They don't know what to do. And we're back.
Hi, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. No. God sorted it out, don't worry. We're all back. Thank you for holding on. Technical difficulties. The podcast, I just feel like it just needs it. Like it wouldn't be the same without it.
Sure. Look, nobody seems to be taking up my advice of we replace the podcast every week with a segment just from each member of Dicebreaker. Like it could be me doing slam poetry or like Maddie talking about Twilight. And then there's only one feed, so it makes it so much easier. So
that would definitely be an interesting experimentation that we could do. It feels I wouldn't be surprised if people started accusing us of deliberately having technical problems just because it's expected now. It's part of our MO.
It's not fun. We don't have fun when we do it. We're all very stressed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So stressed.
No. Okay. I don't know what people missed out, but we're gonna keep going.
Me. Okay. Yeah.
Liv, tell us about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. So I'm playing a bunch of different games. Wild Beyond the Witchlight was one that we did yesterday. So some spoilers for Wild Beyond the Witchlight because we're kind of towards the end, I think. Because it's quite a short little adventure. Actually, it only takes you up to like level 7. But yeah, so the characters the party are in a palace where they're trying to save someone who I will not name. But basically I'm just trying to think.
Spoilers.
I know, so many spoilers. Who I'm trying not to name. But yeah, basically she and her and the people within the palace are in danger. Originally in the book, it was like, that everything is like, stop, it's like frozen in time, and you have to go through and figure out what's going on. But
Mm.
my DM was like, my DM Daisy, who's phenomenal, was like, no, that's not as fun as the idea I have. And so she made it so it was an eternal time loop. So every 10 minutes you have to go back and like start again and like figure things out, and you can like interact with people and you have to convince them that they're in a time loop and like stuff like that. And it's super fun, and she's very creative and has done super well.
That sounds really cool. It's
Mhm.
like
Right? Yeah.
Majora's Mask, but
Yeah,
in a Dungeons and Dragons game.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Is there a big moon coming down to crush you all or not?
I would not be playing it if there was. Just
No.
I just hate the Majora's Mask moon face. That's the thing.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you're not a fan of that.
What about
big old-
4 giant orange naked men who hold up the moon?
That no, having reflected on it, no.
You
that's
had to
not-
think about it though.
yeah, like I was
They're
just like,
doing great work
visual
though.
lights.
Like you
Yeah.
gotta commend them. They're holding
Yeah.
that moon up.
Give it up to the naked orange man.
shout out to the naked orange man guy.
I just want that bumper sticker and
this
put
one's
it
for
on a
y'all.
car.
pour one out.
What else have you been playing, Liv?
Also another D&D game I play on Saturdays. It's with my flirty, annoying bard rogue. So that's fun. Always fun to play.
That's your character, not like an actual person.
No, that's my character. Yeah. If she was an actual person, I don't think we'd be friends. She's just too much. Yeah, just too much all the time. Anyway, so what did we do? My our little one of the characters is playing like a little lizard called like a geck.
Is it called Geck?
Yeah,
Is it Gex?
I think it's a geck. It might be a
Secret
whole thing. I
Secret
can't remember.
Agent Gex.
Secret Agent
Yeah.
Gex, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my god, he's back!
Sure.
Finally, we've been waiting all this time. He's back in your D&D game.
Only
Yeah.
real ones know about N64 Legend Gex, Secret Agent.
I'm a fake one. I am a fake one.
No, I get. I think I've heard of them. They're like
The
just
lizard guys.
little guys.
Yeah,
Oh.
and she's super stinky and fun and stealthy and she's great. Basically, there was this group of werewolves, and they went up to the character that my partner Chloe is playing, and they were like, "Hey, if you want to do something cool, you can go up to this big, massive werewolf thing, and you can like get some of its blood for us." And they were like, "Oh, you want me to do that?" And they were like, "Yeah." And so they were like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll go do that." And then we all saw them walking past to do this thing, and we were like, "Honey, what do you think you all are doing? No, did they tell you to do this? We'll get them. And then we just
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
goodness.
we were, then we were about to fight the werewolves.
I'm imagining this group of werewolf dude bros
Pretty much.
like came up to this character, just like, "Hey, very casually, do you know what's good to do?"
Okay, so the full story is that basically the character, they're also a little bard, and they did vicious mockery like, "Oh, your hair looks awful." And then the
Oh,
DM
wow.
was like, "Oh, actually, I'm making it so they had out of their werewolf form, they have like a problem with their hair falling out." And then they were
Oh,
yeah,
no.
and we were like, "Why would you do that? That's why would you do that?" And now my partner's character is just like consumed with guilt, obviously.
Oh,
because-
so they agreed to do this because they felt bad about
Yeah.
saying the hair thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought maybe they were just like very perceptible to peer pressure, like the
Yeah,
slightest bit of peer
like-
pressure. And they're like, okay,
Probably should
Honestly-
do this.
Honestly, like their character is the sweetest of a bad bunch of reprobates. So yeah, they probably are the most susceptible to peer
Hmm.
pressure. Yeah.
But as soon as your other characters found out about this, they were like, "We're gonna absolutely
Gonna
slam
fight
dunk
them.
these losers."
Yeah, but then my friend Fuzzy's character, Moss, who's the little geck, basically ran up, sneaked, and so she has like a plus
we got that.
9 or something to her stealth. She cast Pass Without Trace on herself, so she gets
Oh,
an extra plus
wow.
10 on top of that. She snuck up. She had advantage on her attack, and so she got a natural 20 to hit it.
Oh my god!
Which is the only way the DM said they would have been able to get through the rough hide of this werewolf monster. And then she just proved herself, and she came back with the blood like, hey, you shouldn't have sent my friend to go up and do that. I'll mess you up, mate. Because that's how she speaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not you embellishing that. That's exactly how they speak.
That's how she speaks, yeah.
Like,
my name's Moss.
like,
oh
oh my god, like, Flushed Away.
The snails?
my
You thinking of
God.
snails?
No,
Frogs?
I'm thinking of Kate Winslet's character. in Flushed
Oh,
Away.
good.
The
Yeah,
rat
it's Kate
lady.
Winslet. My friend Fuzzy, aka Kate Winslet, is
Yeah,
playing the game with us. Yeah.
I love how Chase was like, oh, hang on.
I'm just gonna let y'all go. That's fine. Y'all have this handled.
You gotta see Flushed Away. Oh, Chase, you gotta see Flushed Away.
Oh,
A British
it's not
classic.
good.
I feel like I've seen clips of Flushed Away. Is this the
This
movie
is
about rats in the sewer?
Yeah, this
of
is
course it is about rats.
Aardman.
A British classic about rats in the sewer. Starring
You calling
Hugh
it a
Grant.
classic makes
Yeah.
me really upset.
What are you doing? It's classic.
It's made by Aardman Studios, who did genuine classics like Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run that we were talking about the other day.
Coming up, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Flushed Away they made with CGI and everything. They didn't even do stop motion with it.
Isn't it
which is,
notoriously really, really bad?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, Liv's
People with taste, but I wouldn't know. So
I mean, I watched it. This is going to be fun. The only way I watched it vaguely was several years ago when I was working. It was being attacked
on the film
by a
itself.
fly.
Yeah, it was
when I was working,
The spirit of Kate Winslet's coming at you.
Yeah, it's coming at you. When I was working at a canteen for an Amazon warehouse for a summer job. And it was Christmas, and literally no one was in the canteen. It was just me, and I was cleaning up. And then on the television, there was Flushed Away, but there was no sound. And because I had nothing else to do, I literally watched the whole of Flushed Away on silent.
Were there subtitles?
Yeah, I don't get why they will canteens and stuff will just have films on with no sound whatsoever. It's so
I
annoying.
just had to interpret what was happening. Just by watching
Kate Winslet's little rat mouth, all right, yeah, to read
Isn't
lips.
he voiced by a pretty big celebrity?
Who?
The rat guy.
Yeah, Hugh Grant, as I said. Yeah,
is it really Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I only know Kate Winslet because there was this
She's
tiny little because there was a trailer, but we had a copy of Chicken Run on tape. Or it was Chicken Run or Curse the Were-Rabbit, one of them. And there was a trailer for Flushed Away on it.
Yeah.
And the bit that is cemented into my mind forever is Kate and it's and Kate the voice that's and Kate Winslet. And then she just says, "Hello, Ducky."
Yeah, that's a British.
That's the only bit of dialogue I know.
Up there with such classics as Notting Hill and Carry On Henry.
What? Why Carry On Henry?
Loves to Carry On. I don't know.
Don't think I've seen that one.
Oh wow, one you haven't seen? That's crazy. Yeah, so
not seen every single one.
I don't know about that.
Is there anything else you want to talk about playing? It's huge. It's Hugh Jackman, not Hugh Grant.
Oh, the same guy.
The same guy.
Liar. I don't think that's true. Hang on.
I don't know. I think it might. Oh, she's looking.
Oh my god, what? Oh, that's crazy.
Have you been living a lie?
Yeah, we're living a lie. Is he not even in it?
What? No, it's Hugh Jackman.
What? He doesn't even play Le Frog.
The Frog.
Doesn't play Le Frog? No.
Who's Le Frog? Oh, we're getting pulled into Flushed Away law now.
Flushed Away law, yeah. Le Frog is one of the gang.
One of
it's one of the gang.
Yeah. What you playing? Anything else?
I think that's mostly it. I'm trying to think if anything else happened in that Saturday game because I remember it being quite a good one. No, pretty much that was it.
Okay. Now I'm just imagining us legitimately doing like a flushed away RPG where you play as like sewer animals, like, and you just hang around, and there are some other guys.
This sounds compelling. Wow. Yeah, I'm sold. Please sign me up. This is a killer pitch, Alex. This is
Chase,
great.
you get to do an English accent.
No one wants that.
Everyone wants that.
Nobody asks for that ever.
Everyone definitely wants that.
Absolutely.
There is legitimately nothing better than an American person doing a British accent when they're bad at it.
I will do a mini flushed away RPG for you right now on this podcast.
Oh no, we're completely derailing the podcast.
I cannot believe you raised the.
At any given point, I will make an RPG out of anything you throw at me.
Like Chase is like, oh, I'm just gonna come and do the podcast, you know, the usual thing. It's be great.
Yeah.
And then really, Liv and I were like, right, we're gonna set this up so it's completely natural.
Organic.
I have been awake for all of 2 hours at this point, and y'all are like, are you ready to role play this British movie I've only seen YouTube clips of 7 years ago, and you have to affect a British accent?
Okay,
are you ready?
You can play as a rat, a mouse, a frog,
a slug,
or a little raccoon. I don't know, just any small a little raccoon.
I don't know if the raccoons count.
I like the I look.
They
I'm
are
in the RPG. I think that you can fit a little raccoon in the sewer. Okay.
Okay. We can always say it's a rat that looks like a raccoon.
No, it's a raccoon, man.
Yeah, he's an adoptive raccoon, right? He was found as a baby, and he acts like a rat because he was raised around a bunch of other rat brothers and sisters.
Okay, this is your character. You've just made your character.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm in.
You're a raccoon who thinks that it's a rat, but it's actually a raccoon. You just think he's a really large one.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that video game, Spyro New Beginning.
Wait, are you tangenting our tangent? Alex, you can't do this.
I'm going off the rails. Matt Jarvis isn't here.
I know, but we're already derailing. It's already off the rails.
I'm definitely a slug. We
we're
know
gonna
that I'm a
horseshoe
slug.
theory this. We're gonna go so off the rails, we'll come back around and get back on the rails. It's our own. At this point, it's our only hope. We just have to lean in.
Yeah, I'm definitely a slug.
You're a slug? All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm a slug who runs her own bar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are your characters' names?
My raccoon's name is Small Jackman.
Small Jackman.
Small
Okay.
Jackman.
Son of Hugh Jackman.
Son of Huge Jackman. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
My character's name is Mrs. Squelch.
Mrs. Squelch. Okay. Right. Amazing.
We can't do this, Liv.
Okay. Exterior, Mrs. Squelch's bar. Night.
Oh, it's a screenplay. Wow, we're gonna option this, huh?
Yeah. Mrs. Squelch's bar. Night. Small Jackman. You arrive to visit your friend, Mrs. Squelch. She emerges from the bar.
Chase, you've got to do it.
I'm tempted to do the worst accent that you'll just immediately kill this. Just like let's see. How back in. Mr. Squelch, a glass of your finest sludge, please. Thank you very much. I got quite a thirst, and I'd love just a big old glass of your sludge, please.
Oh my god.
Mrs. Squelch, what do you say to this? Mrs. Squelch.
Mrs. Squelch can't come to the phone right now.
All right.
Because he's dead.
Mrs. Squelch, before you could answer Small Jackman, you were overcome with a feeling that you've never felt before. All of a sudden, you are ravenous, you are hungry. There's nothing in front of you to eat except for Mrs. Squelch. You can do nothing but consume Mrs. Squelch in front of you. Mrs. Squelch is dead.
Oh my god. She didn't even get a chance.
This keeps happening. Well, maybe the next sewer, Small Jackman will find a home.
Oh
maybe.
wow, that was a tragic but moving beast. I love like Alex Simpkins says this podcast has turned into a pitch for a flushed away sequel.
Yeah.
This is what happens, right? When Matt Jarms isn't here to control us.
When he gets out from underneath that cardboard box, he's gonna be so angry.
Like because
He's
what
gonna be
happens is we just try and like turn the podcast into our own very specific idea of what we want to do, which is, for example, doing a Twilight podcast, and now it's a podcast we imagine a flushed away sequel. Yeah, so that's everything.
If anyone wants us to continue the flushed away RPG, you just let us know in a comment, and I will draft up an RPG for you. Okay.
Yeah, we will legitimately do. If people want us to do it, we will legitimately do a flushed away RPG.
You can roll for gunk.
Roll for gunk. Roll for gunk. Roll for spunk. Brackets British.
I won't. I refuse to roll.
Why have you said this? That's not
Spunk stat
that's
0.
not included in the RPG. It's not included. The train's coming back. 1 second.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
convenient.
Liv's got her door open. There's a train going by. This is chaos. That's everything Liv's played. Let's go to Chase. Chase, what you've been playing?
All right, let me salvage this train
Salvage
wreck.
nothing, Chase. This has been a great,
Great. Yeah, I don't know about you, but the audience are loving it.
Loving it.
Listen, they don't know what they want. They just show up here to be fed, and we give them trash.
Roll for trash. Also a part of the flushed away sequel RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Flushed away sequel RPG. That's what we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they won't come after us with copyright.
Yeah. Flushed away. The sequel is called Overflowing.
Flushed away : floaters.
Yes.
Colon floated. Chase, what have you been?
All right, so
Yeah.
I'm having to reach back a couple of weeks here because I've been traveling and
Ooh.
it was a whole North Carolina.
Ooh.
That's a place in the USA.
That's
Yes.
right. That is absolutely
It's
correct.
also a Southern
Gold star
Carolina.
for Meehan.
I know, thank you. 2 more of those and I get a pair of shoes.
Yep. Yeah, you can trade those in for a red or gold pen. Yeah, just a little gel pen.
Some shoes, for the love of God. 2K22.
Yeah.
Chase.
God. Okay. Yeah. So I'm reaching back a couple weeks, but I played some Symbaroum, 5th edition, actually, the 5th edition version of Symbaroum, which is called Ruins of Symbaroum. I have a piece on the website with my impressions of it that you can read, but it's essentially like one of Free League's RPGs, Symbaroum, which is like all based around like going into this forest and like exploring. It's dangerous. It's all about like sort of like really dangerous delves and trying to pull out treasure without getting too corrupted in the process.
Mm-hmm.
But last year they had a good big Kickstarter to bring it over to 5th edition, and that set came out, and I played it with some friends just to check it out. And it's pretty good. Like, I'm normally not someone who plays a lot of like 5th edition adaptations. I'm kind of the real snobby, like push my glasses up that like you play Dungeons and Dragons or play something else. Like, but I will say that Symbaroum does offer like one of the best sort of like bridges between those two games that you can probably get to, because like it is a combat focused game, or at least like a danger focused game. So a lot of those rules from D&D 5th edition do really translate well.
Yeah.
And also like they've adapted in such a way that they just try to take the rule set and port it over. They've kept a lot of the world building and a lot of the sort of like concepts and themes, which is like a big sort of like anti-colonial themes of like, here's what happens whenever people show up and think that they have a right to sort of just claim a place and start extracting as many resources from it as possible in the name of survival. But do the means justify the ends? And in this game, no, because it just makes you erupt with corruption and do a whole bunch of other bad stuff. Yeah, it's
Eruption of corruption.
eruption of corruption. Yeah, that's my garage prog rock band. But it was genuinely a lot of fun, and I think that if you are someone who plays a lot of D&D 5th edition or looking for like a branch out into something, this is going to be a game that like gives you a different world and feels like a different experience without you having to learn a whole lot of other new rules. Like it's not you're not going to have to read a 200-page book and be like, all right, I guess I'll just learn a different way to roll dice and then have to play this, because I can understand that's a big mental load for some folks, especially if you just are sort of someone who plays a lot of D&D. This is a really nice bridge between those two games and could give you perspective on something new.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting when there are certain settings that then get like their own 5e versions and stuff, and I'm like, sometimes it doesn't quite feel like it works because they're just like, let's just take this thing and then pop it in the 5e and just, I don't know. I'm someone who's like, systems should be really tied to their themes or the things they're trying to do, rather than just slapping whatever on 5e. But this seems to work for you, Chase.
Largely, yeah. There are some like parts where it doesn't, like you can sort of see the stitching a little more than I'd like, specifically like around the magic system, which in Symbaroum everyone can do magic, but it comes at a cost, and then some people are just a little bit better at handling that cost than others. But it should be something there that like tempts all players to take access or to access it. But following sort of like the classes in the D&D milieu, they have kind of locked magic behind like class options. So you have to choose certain classes in order to use magic. And I think that like that definitely like takes some of that danger away. Like I really like it that it's just sort of this pervasive threat, this constant temptation for anyone who goes out. Like you're supposed to like get out into this, get way in over your head and be like, if I only took some of this little dark magic and just did a little bit, I get out of this, and then come away with like big pustules on you or two big horns coming out of your head. And then you come back to civilization. Everyone's like, yeah, no, you don't get to come in here. You've done been marked, buddy.
Yeah, rude.
I don't see what the problem with the big horns
I really
is, really. I think that's a plus, personally.
Amazing fashion accessory. Love that.
It's a bit like Fable's morality system, where it's like, oh, you've done a bad thing. Now you've got big horns and eyes.
You kicked too many chickens.
You kicked too many chickens. I was going to say something. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like blood magic from Dragon Age. Like, that works similarly, where it's like, oh, the temptation to use blood magic because it's like strong, etc., or people get driven to it through desperation and stuff, and then bad stuff happens to them, or people are like, oh no, you're a bad person. We're not.
Yeah, it's a classic fantasy taboo to be like, here's this magic, it's very good, you will be very powerful, but then everybody will hate you.
It's like divinity is similar as well, right? With like source and sorcerers, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
They just spell sorcerers differently.
They spell it SAUCE. Yeah,
they're baristas. They just
barista.
Their magic just serves tea and coffee.
Have you been playing anything else, Chase?
Yeah, I've been playing a few other things. I'll run through quickly. Had a little board game night the other week, and we played Spirit Island because the group really likes Spirit Island, and it's
I still haven't played that. I want to play it.
Really?
I know, it's on the list.
Have we done Spirit Island for like one of the I haven't played videos before?
No, but I don't know whether we're still doing those. So,
well,
we'll find out.
We need to. Alex, we need to play Spirit Island at some point.
Yeah, I want to play Spirit Island, like definitely, just even if not for work, just for my own benefit, because everyone's like, it's so good, and I'm like, it sounds amazing, but I just don't know anyone who has a copy. I don't really know anyone who's been like reached out to me and said we should play Spirit Island. So
yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about games that do a really good job of like tying themes to systems, Spirit Island is one of those games that does it very well. It's just really tight design. It is extremely difficult, but not in a way that like feels punishing, because it's a cooperative game. Like it feels like you and the rest of whoever you're playing with like really need to buckle down and like make good decisions. And like all of your little decisions like will cause ramifications. Like you're supposed to, the whole concept for those who haven't played is like you are the like the sort of guardian spirits of this island of indigenous people, and settlers are coming in. It's sort of, they're like primed after like sort of like Spanish conquistador era invaders and colonizers, and you use your powers and abilities via these cards to like toss them back in the ocean, essentially wipe them out, or scare them so much that they just like raise stakes and get the hell out of there. Like that is your two options. And it's a lot of fun. So like every spirit has sort of a different approach, and you need to work together and use your abilities in sort of like concert in order to handle the sort of like increasing wave of invaders that will sort of populate across the island every turn. And so if you make a wrong move, you will see that sort of like cascade across the island, and you have to like switch your focus to like deal with these problems that you maybe just sort of like, that's not a big deal. It's just one or two guys over there. And then a turn later, it's 3 cities and 7 guys. And you're like, I should not have ignored that. But it is not so much that you feel overwhelmed. Like it always feels like you have just, if you think it out, if you look at all your resources and look at all your moves, there is a way to like use everything and solve that problem. You never feel like completely overwhelmed.
It's that classic thing of like that a lot of co-op games have, where it's like the balance between like managing like threats or potential problems with like trying to push yourself closer to a goal. Like it's the same with Pandemic has like something similar, where it's like, oh, we have to make sure that these cubes don't spread too far, but also we have to, you know, try and push ourselves closer towards the goal so we can actually finish the game. But
Right.
Great co-op games often follow that kind of like system where because it's like, oh, we have to think about what we want to do next, what are our priorities. And sometimes is there like an RNG thing in the game where it's like, oh, there might be this many settlers that appear on these spaces, or
No, yeah, so the way it works is like there's like a deck of cards, and it goes across 3 spaces. So you'll flip over and it'll say like, okay, in these zones. So like the whole map is split into like forest, wetlands, deserts, and mountains. And so the card might say like, when you flip it over, at first they explore, which means they show up. And so invaders might show up in the mountain region. In later stages of the game, it goes into 2. So each card might have like they show up in mountains and wetlands, which can get more difficult as it goes later in the game. But first they arrive, and then just little settlers arrive. And then they build, which means they construct cities or towns. And if there's already a town there, they construct a city. And those get increasingly more difficult to pull off the board. So the longer you let someone sit there, the more difficult it is to remove them. Okay. And then in the last phase, so first they arrive, then they build, and then the turn after they build, those same regions will ravage, which means they do damage to the land, and you will gain corruption if you don't try to block that damage or get them off the board before they do that. And too much corruption is one of the fail states of the game.
They remind me of the Woodland Alliance from Root, because if you just don't do anything about them, they will take over, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's sort of the Woodland Alliance on the other end of the moral spectrum.
The moral
right?
spectrum, yeah, where it's like, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
The Woodland Discordance or something.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I really want to play Spirit Island. I've got a list of games I want to play that I've never played before, and Spirit Island is definitely like on that list.
We need to go to a board game cafe again. Chase, make your way over.
Yeah,
thank you.
Chase, get over here.
In the meantime, I'll grab a ticket real quick. And in the meantime, folks can read a list about board game cafes on the website, right, Alex?
Look at you.
Very nice. Very nice.
You've learned from the best. Yes, Chase, there is a list of the best, well, some of the best, because I can't include every single board game cafe in the country on there.
Why not, Alex Meehan?
Email Alex if she did not include one on your list, and tell her in strong language that she was wrong for not including you on her list.
Old red font. Tell her what.
Hit that caps lock key, and don't hit it again until you're done with your email.
It's stuck.
Yeah, no, we put up a list of the best board game cafes in the UK. we tried to basically do like breadth. So we wanted to try and like cover as much of the country as possible, which is why there is only one London entry and not several, even though there are several board game cafes in London.
I see you included Chance Encounters Bristol and not Chance Encounters Cardiff. I see, Alex.
There is a Welsh one on there. Don't worry.
Liz over here, I just need to send a quick email real quick. Don't mind me.
Hang on. Caps lock.
Can't believe you did this.
You stupid. Yeah. So if you are like, oh, I want to go for a trip around the UK, or you're like, oh, I wonder if there's any good board games near me. If you have any suggestions, we have put a tweet out asking for those at Join Dicebreaker. Yes, thank you, Liv. So you can put your lovely suggestions in there, and you never know, we might do more of this kind of content if people want it. But yeah, no. Have you played anything else, Chase?
Just one last one real quick. Railroad Inc., part of the same boarding. I introduced my friends to Railroad Inc., which is a very good game.
Yeah.
It's incredibly fun. Takes about 30 minutes to play. And like the physical version, it is on like Board Game Arena, and the Board Game Arena version is pretty good too.
It's fine, yeah. I think we played. Did we play it? We played it together.
Yeah, I think we played it with Matt and Maddie one time, and Matt absolutely schooled us.
Yeah,
there's
because
also an app.
train.
Oh, there is an app. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't tried that. Have you tried the app, Liv?
Yeah, the app's pretty good. We played it on the channel a little while back. Yeah, it's really good. It's really cute. Like the animations are super wholesome. Like when you get your new set of dice for the round, like a little train will be like across the bottom, and it's like, wow, and they like float in, and yeah, it's very cute.
Love that.
I'll need to make my own train noises next time. That's yeah.
I think like all of us have played like some form of Railroad Inc. now. Like it's spread across the entire team. Yeah, Railroad Inc. is really good and cute. And also we got these little pins from Horrible Games that are like Railroad
Guild.
Yeah, Horrible Guild. Yeah, with these little Railroad Inc. pins, and they're really cute. And they're like themed after the different colored versions that they did.
Yeah,
it's like the blue one, the orange one, the red one. But yeah, and then you can buy the little dice. The little dice is like expansions that add new mechanics to the game. But
it's a cool way to do expansions. You just like 2 new dice, and there's a mechanic tied to them. I think that's a really fun way just to wrinkle up the system. Yeah.
Cool. One thing that Chase and I played together is Arcs, Conflict, and Thingy in the Void.
Oh, you played it?
Another C word.
Yeah, another C, not that C word.
Conflict and Chase in the Void.
Yeah.
It's not that. That's just my name.
It's not Chase. No.
I mean, I like that.
It's something like that. It's widely just known as Arcs. Yeah. It's the newest game from Later Games and Cole Verley, who created Root, Oath, Pax Pamir, 2nd edition, yada yada yada. The Kickstarter for it has finished, I think.
Yeah.
Like very recently. But there is a tabletop simulator version. Caveat: tabletop simulator has done some dodgy stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Don't love that. But at the moment it's the only way to really play it digitally.
Hate that.
Yeah. So yeah, Chase, Matt, and I played Arcs this week, finally together. And one thing that we did want to note is the fact that, as Later Games kind of like and Whirly kind of stated, is the fact that the campaign mode that was, I don't know if it was originally meant to be included in the game.
My understanding is, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has been separated into a expansion, so it's not part of the core experience. And when I initially spoke to Cole Verley in an interview that you can read on our website right now, I had the impression that that Arcs was going to be a game with like narrative was going to be an important aspect of it. So when I spoke to Cole early at that point, he told me about the fact that, you know, a full game of Arcs is technically split into 3 different sessions. And over those sessions, the galaxy that you're playing in, because it's a sci-fi game, will be altered by some of the things that you choose to do in, you know, the previous session in the game. There was also like an indication of, you know, you could make choices that can fundamentally like change what you could do. And also you'd start the game with like objectives that also kind of framed who you were in this galaxy. So it kind of came, the thought that I had from it was, you know, this is a game where it feels like you're kind of shaping this galaxy and then telling a story of sorts. Now, obviously, like in a game like Root, for example, you kind of tell your own stories through what you decide to do, your interactions with other players, but there's no like, there's not really like, this thing happened and now this is what the consequences of that are going to be. There's like none of that. We played Arcs this week without sans the campaign stuff.
I don't think any of the campaign stuff is like on Tabletop Sim. It's just the base version.
It's just the base version. And like all the mechanics that Verdi described in the interview are all there, but none of the narrative campaign stuff. And my personal reaction to it is, this is fine. Like the mechanics of it are, you know, it was described as being simple, like simpler than, like, for example, O4 Root. And it is pretty straightforward. Like there is a bit to initially learn, but it's mostly just like terminology and specifics about the way that each round works. They use the term hand and round very strangely in the rulebook. That's one criticism we had, where it's like, it seems like hand should be round and not hand, because every round is basically made up of whenever you run out of cards, and then it should be turns within a round, because that's the general terminology that most people use. But yeah, in this game you're kind of a nondescript color. you're like red, blue, whatever. You don't really have a identity in the game. You're not factions. It's not like Root where you're asymmetric. You will all start with roughly the same stuff. You all work kind of the same way. And the goal of the game is to get points by achieving objectives. So there are objectives laid out for everyone to see that you score every round. And these are decided by these cards that are randomly drawn. And you also have a private objective that stays within your hand, and then you reveal it once you've completed it. Again, when I spoke to Cole in our interview, kind of made it seem like those private objectives would be, there was an emphasis placed on them and a sense of like, this is who you are in the game, this is kind of what drives you. And my objective didn't really feel like that. It was very much like this is something that you can do in the game to just get some extra points. Like the way that the game works is everyone simultaneously chooses a card to play, and the cards are made of different suits, which also kind of determines what actions you can do with them. There is a person who is the lead player who plays their card first, and the cards have, like, as well as suits, numbers on them, kind of like playing cards. And the number that you play will determine if you're following. So if you're not leading, it will determine what you can kind of do and how things end up. So each card also has these little pips on them, which basically say this is how many actions that you can perform, but the actions have to be the ones listed on the card. So the kind of actions that you can perform are like, you can build something, you can move, and you can do some other slightly more complicated things. But once the lead player is gone, the other players can either choose to follow, which is play a card of that suit that is higher than the one that they played, or they can copy, which is play a card face down and just do one of the actions that the lead player chose, or they can pivot, which is play any card that they want, but they can only do one action on that card. If you play a card of a higher number than the lead and anyone else of the same suit, then you get to take the initiative, which is basically you get to go first next time. So I would say the most engaging aspect of the game is like the card system and how turn order works, and how you can choose between like, do I want to do more actions or do I want to maintain my lead? Because obviously leading means you get to go before other people and therefore anticipate their moves. There is combat in the game, so you can initiate fights with people, which are decided by like dice rolls and the number of ships that you have to use. Movement works the same as route, where it's like you need control of either the place you're moving out of or the place you're moving into. And there is like area control aspects of it. You can build stuff, so it's not like it's lacking in stuff. It's more like, mechanically speaking, it's fine. And I get the sense that the campaign parts that are not in the game are the things that were meant to make it special, like meant to make it like this is more than just what it is right now, which is a fine game that's kind of engaging, but like I guess we're biased because we're like, oh well, he makes amazing games. Like they're usually really mechanically compelling, thematically compelling, or both a lot of the time. This one, it kind of feels like, yeah, it's kind of a bit disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you, Meehan. I think that the fact that they're going to separate out these games means that the basic version, which is going to retail, I think Cole said, like something around like, like what an hour to hour and a half long board game, like normal box size board game, like $60
Probably like 40,
US.
40 pounds maybe.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that game is going to be pretty good. I think it is mechanically competent enough that you're going to get a lot out of it. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And I think it is going to be the larger box that probably sells for like, 110, like Oath size, or like it's going to be like an Oath size and Oath priced game, from what I understand. That's going to be the one that like, yeah, I agree with Meehan that like the campaign stuff is going to inform all of your actions. It's going to give every sort of thing that you do a thematic or narrative weight to it that like is just missing from this box. And like,
yeah,
I understand the inclination to like just put out like a normal size game, because like the last two games that Cole Worley has put out through Leader have been larger.
Oath was huge.
Yeah.
But I don't know the numbers. I don't have access to, like later games, financial records or their numbers or whatever. But I got the impression that obviously Oath, I can't imagine Oath did root numbers, but like number one, root's been out for a lot longer. It's had time to build steam. It's still really popular. It's gotten a name for itself. But I didn't get the impression. I mean, I heard people like talking about it, like it wasn't just dumped and it also had root to help it like, sell copies. And then I got and it being like a bigger game, it's like, oh, people are like, well, root's like not huge, but like it's not like a tiny little game. There's a lot there,
especially with all the expansions.
Yeah, and having played Oath, like I'm not as big a fan as Oath as like Matt Jarvis is, but I've not played Oath as much as him. But I found it really good. Like when I was playing it, I was like, no, this is a Cole Worley game. Like I can see there was something special about it, which was like the legacy quote aspect of it. Even though it's not technically a legacy game, it's like, oh, you know what you do in this game,
right?
Yeah. The next game you play will be informed by the things that happened in the previous game, like the way who is in what roles, like how the kingdom works. Like if people have been exiled, they'll work differently. Like the as often the case, the mechanics kind of informed the story and the thematic elements. And even playing like Pax Pamir Second Edition, which is not a game that I was familiar with, I was like, yeah, no, like I can. This again is giving that feeling of this is special. This is something like this is something that I'm gonna think about like after I played it. Whereas Arcs, like all I can think about it right now is like that was fun, but and it was like easy to learn, like which I think is not a bad thing. It's not
that's
like
a selling
like,
point for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not kind of like Cole can only make games that are super complex and difficult to learn. I don't think the simplicity is the problem. For me, it's more like it feels like it's lacking a soul. Does that make sense? Like
you can see the areas where they chopped off the rest of the game, right? I mean, because Alex, you've talked about this, like all those games that you mentioned, like you can just feel that they're like a whirly game and like a leader game that he's worked on. This one feels like a game he worked on and is just missing that bit. It just feels missing. You can see the areas where the scissors cut that part of the game off.
And I wonder whether it, again, we can't confirm it. We've not played the campaign expansion, whatever. I wonder whether the campaign bits is that missing piece, because I don't know, when I was talking to Whirly, he was really excited about the game. And, he was talking particularly excited about the narrative elements of it. And when we were playing, we didn't play a complete game, but, we got a decent way through.
Like 2
and when
hours.
we were playing, we just didn't see any of that. It was like, it was quite dry. Like, it's still got Kyle Ferrin's artwork, it's still got that kind of character to it. But like aside from that, it was really
it's stylized the same way from what I've seen.
Yeah, and I don't think it was the fact that we were playing the digital version that's a problem, because I played Root digital way more time. That's actually how I got into the game. I think it's just like it feels it genuinely feels like incomplete. It feels like these narrative aspects that are supposed to be like, driving your purpose beyond just like, we're going to fulfill these objectives. Like, oh, wow, like that happened. Like now the galaxy is different. Like I'm this kind of person, whatever it is. Like, yeah.
I truly wonder how it's going to come across to someone who might not have ever played a co-whirly joint, because they are maybe out of their price range and they use Arcs as like their sort of first leader game experience. I wonder if it's still going to feel that way, or if it's just us sort of like being precious with co-whirly's like previous designs. I don't know, because I don't know. But the thing is, very difficult to think about it in that way. Yeah.
Like, it's not bad. I mean, like, games don't have to be complicated to be good. Like, some of my favorite games are so simple. Like like we were talking the other day about Point Salad. Like, Point Salad is such a basic ass game where it's like literally a point salad game in the fact that you're set collecting cards and everything. But like when I was like, I've got it at home, we were like, we could play it in the office. Like, we were all generally a little bit like, we want to play Point Salad. Because Point Salad's great. Same with like Cockroach Poker, or like Fox in the Forest, or Jaipur, or like these are games that I think about like plenty.
The concept may be simple, but the gameplay is strong still.
Like Fort from Leader Games. Like, I love that game. I love the heck out of it. Like, that is a deck building game that is like fairly straightforward. And like, I really enjoyed it. I just think that the difference here is the fact that Arcs feels like it should be more than it is, because you're like, well, I mechanically it works, and it's kind of it's entertaining, and there's like there's elements of player interaction, and there's some fun mechanics there. But like, I played games like that as well. And I'm like, well, that was fun. Like 100 other Euro games that are exactly like that. And, those aren't the ones that I'm like, let's play that again. The ones that I want to play again are the ones that I'm like, wow, that was like something I'm hungry for that. Like, I want to have that experience again. So, yeah, I think just Matt Jarvis obviously isn't here. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but we got the similar kind of vibes from him of
Yeah.
like,
And that's interesting because Matt Jarvis is like a big Cole-worthy fan, right? Like,
yeah, he's a massive stan.
Yeah.
He's a Cole apologist. If we ever have to cancel Cole Worley, Matt's gonna have to just like, you know, he's gonna be clutching at so many pearls.
yeah, it really is.
So yeah, I think all three of us kind of came away from it being like, well, that was a game.
Yeah, I'm open to it, like changing my mind as we play more, but like, I'm just very interested to see how that full game plays.
Yeah, again, it's like the case of
So this was
I've
just
only-
a preview or something, was it? Or
I don't 100% know.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the experience that is boxed up for £40, $60, and is sold as its own experience.
Ooh,
and then
okay.
like the
Yeah.
complete campaign arcs experience is going to be
Mm.
sold at a different price.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
'cause it's
Cole
a
really
larger
has-
box.
Yeah, he said like specifically when they made that decision that he does kind of want ARCs to be a more approachable game for folks who maybe didn't pick up Root and looked at the price of Oath and the size of the box and said, my table's not going to be able to do that, but can
Mhm.
look at ARCs and be like, this is more reasonable. Like I can
thing-
convince 2 to 3 people to play this game.
Yeah, I think it will. And you know what? There's a part of me that's like, you know what, it's fine that exists.
Yeah.
But also I'm like, later games have released, they don't just explicitly released like they don't just release big old complicated things. They've also released like smaller, they're still releasing smaller games. Like they're releasing that pirate one that I can't remember what it's called, but like, oh my god, that's gonna haunt me forever. It's pretty sure it's like coming out this year, and that's like a fairly straightforward like game that's just, hey, you're managing your own ships.
Ahoy, right?
Ahoy, yeah, Ahoy, which I believe is technically a remake of another game, but yeah, like that from what I understand is fairly straightforward. It's not like later games don't have accessible games for people.
Mhm.
I kind of was like, I'm kind of like, let Cole
Be free. let him unleash him.
unleash. Well, it's the case of like people like his games because they're his game. You know what I mean?
Totally.
You don't need to make, not everything needs to appeal to everyone. Like, you know, obviously the money thing is a little bit trickier because not everyone has like $100 to just dump on something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are a lot of games that do that, and I'm like, I don't give a rat's fart about those because usually they're really expensive because they're full of bloody miniatures or something, and then the actual like gameplay itself is very lackluster. But like to me, you pay out, like what you get with Oath is that you pay out for like what you get with it, you know, like that to me is a better investment than any other game that's just full of bloody miniatures, and that's why it's so expensive. Like producing a smaller, like more affordable version of ARCs, on the one hand I'm like, yeah, I mean board games are for everyone, it sucks to put like a financial barrier between that, but also I'm like, it feels like this isn't a complete thing, and it feels like you're almost selling someone like something that's just not as good as something else.
Like a prototype or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like almost like an early access thing, like and I'm a
Beta.
little bit dodgy with that, where I'm like, I would rather you sold something that was like good. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Yeah, totally. You
Yeah.
want people things that are good.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. Yeah, Truce is like, not everything needs to appeal to everyone, but think of the profit margin. I mean, yeah, fair enough. But also, it's a tricky thing. Yeah, I mean, because like I said, like when I was speaking to Cole, I was getting the impression that Root very much, it feels like Root funds a lot of the kind of out there things that they tried to do. Like that's why, you know, like Root is there to kind of do that. But maybe Root hasn't been doing enough. I don't know. Maybe they thought Oath was going to be a bigger hit, but yeah, maybe we'll give it another go. And I'd be really interested to
like to try it.
play the complete version whatever they're calling it.
I was quite intrigued by it because I felt like the closest thing to an RPG I've heard of in like board game form. That's the impression I got of it. So I was quite intrigued by that and like
Yeah.
the episodic nature of it.
Yeah.
Right. So I would love to give the full thing a shot. But
Basically, all the bits that I was excited about aren't in the game.
okay. Not
Like
great.
all the bits where I was like, oh, well, he's not really done anything like this before, but I want to see what it's like. Like, I want to see what it's like when this designer does this. And then they've taken those bits out, it seems, and like put them in a different version. And I'm like, well, maybe this version that we played would appeal to some people, but like to me, it's not what I want. But I guess I'm just one person. Like I'm not the entire audience.
And also, like, even if it's a bit of a critical miss, like this game is still probably going to sell very well.
Yeah, it's later. Later usually sell decently, but it's fairly like we'll watch this space. But I think that's what we've been playing. We can do a quick.
Well,
yes,
I mean, I don't know if you went over what you've been playing, but unless you think it's all been covered.
Yeah, I'm happy with everything. Like,
Okay.
I'm also aware of the time, but we're going to do a quick look at the news because there has actually been some interesting news this week. If you want to read stuff that we've done, you can go over to dicebreaker.com, read all the latest news, features, opinion pieces, lists, like some of the ones that we've mentioned. Chase and I write on there along with Matt Jarvis and many of our wonderful contributors. And a story that Matt Jarvis has done this week is about the Magic the Gathering 30th anniversary event.
I want to get a video of Usher saying "Happy Birthday, Magic" like he did for Xbox.
I'm sure that could be arranged.
We'll get in contact with Usher. We'll call him up.
Obviously, next year is the 30th anniversary of Magic the Gathering, the big old trading card game. And there is going to be an event this October, I believe. Is it this year?
Yep. Yeah. In Las Vegas at the end of October.
Las Vegas, yeah. The event itself is actually partly organized by ReedPop, who is the company that owns Dicebreaker. So, disclaimer there. But yeah, it's basically going to be just a big old event being like, hey, Magic. So there's going to be a modern tournament. I'm just scanning over. I did not write this piece, so I'm just scanning over. Magic World Championship 18.
Are you trying to read Roman numerals real quick?
Yep. Not 18. 28.
28.
Oh, okay.
That
makes sense
there.
because there's 30 in it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. There will also be a dedicated command zone playing area for the
everyone loves
commander format. And there will also
I see that the commander video that Wheels and I did is included here.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a bad time for me. I did not pull any land cards the entire live stream, and it was basically the whole chat was just kind of like just kill her, just take her down, don't let her suffer.
Yeah, put out her misery, shuffle up, play again.
Yeah, exactly.
The lead designer Mark Rosewater will host Unfinity events. Featuring the upcoming unset cards, which are usually forbidden from tournament play because they're buck wild.
Yeah, that'll be fun because those cards are designed to sort of break all of Magic's normal traditions in very interesting ways. And I've seen they've previewed some of the Unfinity cards for the upcoming set, and they are as bonkers as that set normally is. So that should be fun.
And of course, various people from the design team and people associated with Magic the Gathering, including Richard Garfield, old Richie G.
Oh yeah,
will be there virtually. Okay, interesting. As well as some cosplayers. Nice. Day tickets will cost $75. and you can get a £30 virtual ticket, which will unlock access to online events. People will be pleased to know there will be COVID-19 health and safety guidelines, although they're still being finalized, which is always a term that one needs to be careful about. So yeah, this is like, have there ever been like a big Magic the Gathering event like this before?
They did a similar one for Magic 25. I don't remember all the details, but they did do something like this. This one is going to be, I think, is extra special because it is also, this is the year that Magic has, like, Wizards of the Coast started doing live events again. You know, they are part of most every company in the world and pretending that COVID no longer exists, and so people can gather again. So they are sort of pulling out all the stops, and
yeah. So obviously, if you're considering going, stay safe, etc.
Where else?
We might be going? Question mark. Depends. Big might? Question mark. I don't know. But yeah, that's exciting. And obviously, like next year with the 30th anniversary, things are gonna kick off there.
Yeah, they have a lot more planned apparently, which details coming soon. I wanted to mention real quick. Did y'all know that Richard Garfield designed King of Tokyo?
I did. He has designed. He's designed some bangers.
Yeah.
That dude made Magic the Gathering and Keyforge and said, "I'm not resting on my laurels. I've got more stuff to do." It's wild.
He made Netrunner as well.
Yeah, he made Netrunner. He's done Filthy Rich, which apparently people love. It's a game from '98, but people really like that, and it's just a very different game from like Magic or Keyforge or anything.
Yeah, Garfield is just the kind of designer who's like, yeah, I'm going to design perhaps the most popular trading card game ever made. I'm also going to design like several other ones that are really well loved. And then I'm also going to design some banging board games as well.
I really like that. I like that he just sort of keeps creating.
He's still working now.
Yeah.
Like, he's still making board games at the moment. Like, he didn't just stop Keyforge. So yeah.
Am I completely making it up, or did he make Werewolf or an adaptation of Werewolf, like One Night Ultimate Werewolf? I might be making that up completely.
That I'm not sure about.
I'm gonna look it up and check my facts.
Okay. While Liv does that, we're going to move on to some other news as well. Also, let us know if you're thinking of going to the event. We're interested to see what people's reactions are to that and whether they're interested.
No, we didn't. I'm thinking of Ted Elsback. Ignore me.
Okay. That was that question answered. Chase, there's this news story that you did about Backerkit launching its own crowdfunding platform.
They're getting into it. It has a terrible name that I hope that they're thinking of changing. It's Backerkit crowdfunding, which is just SEO poison. So generic. Like Funderkit is right there, right? You know? That's much better.
True. Yeah, that's true.
So for those who don't know, if you've funded anything on Kickstarter in the last several years, you were probably familiar with Backerkit. They designed a lot of the tools that allow for programs to sort of like do pledge managers, send you emails to remind you that you still haven't put in your shipping address for that board game that you bought 7 months ago. That's all Backerkit's doing. And so they've sort of rose to fame in providing those tools for Kickstarter and now other Kickstarter sort of equivalents. They don't do it for GameFound, but they do it for a few other companies. Indiegogo, maybe. I'll need to double check that. But they've announced that they're just like going to do their own crowdfunding program. It's in beta right now, and they've got I think 5 currently running projects as a sort of proof of concept.
Well, technically they've got active projects with a list of planned campaigns for over 30 more companies from inside the tabletop gaming industry. Including Whirly Gig Games, which is Cole Verley's own studio, and Later Games, along with Restoration Games, who've done like some pretty big games like Return to Dark Tower and stuff. But what are these 5 projects that they've announced so far?
So they're not all tabletop projects, because like Backerkit crowdfunding is not going to just be tabletop stuff, though.
Okay.
They are going to focus a lot on tabletop board games and RPGs. So the 5 currently running projects, I'm gonna pull this link up real quick. We have like some dice, Oracle dice from a company called Publishing Goblin. We've got some passport books that look like classic literature. Like they got some Jane Eyre, basically like, you know, fancy hardcover literature books, but for your passport. There's a terrain campaign, and then there are a couple of them have already ended. I guess they did a couple of short ones, and then there's some for like little enamel pins that look like slices of pizza. So they're going to be for artwork, for tabletop games, for a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, they've got a huge number of known quantities within the tabletop space that are going to be launching soon, because I think they're looking at early 2023 to like officially launch, to like fully come out and be more open to the public for other projects.
And one of those projects that's coming up is something that Matt Jarvis covered called Land of Eam. Yeah. Which is from Exalted Funeral, who have like published like a load of really good tabletop role-playing games, including, oh my god, help me out, Chase. Arcs?
They've done a lot. Like I know they've done like Ultraviolet Grasslands. They've done I think they do Mothership.
They did Mothership. I think they did Mothership. I know, like, the thing is, I know the name Exalted Funeral really well, but I can't now. My brain has just gone blank as to like what they put out.
I'm like, oh yeah, I know one, but I'm like, it's definitely wrong. Did they have a hand in Monster Hearts 2? Did they have a hand in
you might be right, actually. I think they did do Monster Hearts. Yeah. Basically they've done some really good tabletop role-playing games, and this is like a new one from them that's like, as Matt's described it, the Muppets with Lord of the Rings, which is what a combo.
Yeah, it's a good sell.
Yeah. It looks really cute.
Yeah, it's gonna have its own system. That's sort of like, you know, it's all like dice-based stuff, but it's going to be its own sort of like new system of rules that you're going to use for it. And I think it is like, it's going to be like sort of whimsical dark fantasy, right? Like that sort of like Jim Henson-esque, like it is colorful, but there's a little bit of a creepy undertone to a lot of the designs and
like
stuff.
Like Over the Garden Wall sort of thing.
Yeah, something very close to Over the Garden Wall and Adventure Time, sort of like just uncanny enough to be spooky sometimes, but largely not fully leaning into horror.
So I think that's exciting. It's good to see other crowdfunding platforms pop up, especially when Kickstarter are doing crypto rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, people love Backerkit. They've got a really good customer service. Like, as far as I know, folks have very little bad to say about Backerkit. So I'm wondering if like they're going to have the similar reception to this crowdfunding. I'd be interested to see how popular it is. I will say the projects they sort of announced and the names they've got, like they're going to Cephalofair Games, which does Gloomhaven and Frosthaven. Isaac Childress is going to launch a campaign next year for a full line of miniatures for Gloomhaven and Frosthaven. Like every game, you're going to be able to buy miniatures for all that instead of using the paper cutout standees that normally come in the box. And you're also going to get a second print run of Frosthaven on there. So if you miss the first run, you'll be able to pick it up on Backerkit next year.
It's good to have competitors to Kickstarter. We've had GameFound. Now, like, hopefully, a next big one is going to be the Backerkit crowdfunding.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see how that shakes up the playing field.
If you want to read more Dicebreaker stuff, you can go over to dicebreaker.com right now. You can read that list that we mentioned earlier. I did a lovely little op-ed about Stormlight Archive, which is a series of fantasy novels and how they would be really good for a tabletop role-playing game. There is a feature about Yu-Gi-Oh! Dimension Force. So if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, then you can read that. And yeah, there's also a feature about the Pot of Greed, which is also a Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing. So it's all about Yu-Gi-Oh! Really at the moment. It's the hot new thing.
You know,
Can
just
I make a cheeky little correction, because my brain ties things together if they have similar themes. Exalted the Funeral has nothing to do with Monster Hearts 2. I was thinking of Buried Without Ceremony.
There you go.
Buried Funeral.
Yeah,
There you go.
Avery Alder's company. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But yeah, go to
yeah.
the site. Just click around a little bit. You don't even have to read stuff. Just click on links that you see. Just
Jeez,
spend
we're
30
going
minutes.
down a dark path. No,
Just click around the site. I don't know. Check it out.
We do have a quick little segment for this week's episode. There is I covered some news this week about a Monopoly summer camp, which is designed to teach kids about money and about handling money and various things like that, which I think is hilarious, considering that Monopoly is basically a game that's like, hey, you can bankrupt other people. That's what you want to do. You want to like be basically as greedy as possible.
Mhm.
And they're like, we're gonna teach you how to learn to manage your money and economics and things like that. I'm like, oh, kids love that stuff. So I figured it might be fun for us to do a little segment about what would be our dream tabletop summer camp.
So explain this to me in more detail, please, Alex Meehan. So yeah, explain it to me. what kind of thing?
So like you would go to a summer camp,
Yes,
for like maybe a few weeks, maybe like 2 weeks or a month or whatever. And like the whole summer camp would be themed and focused around like that thing. So it doesn't need to be like one particular game. It could be like
Camp
a
Grizzly.
collection of games. Camp Grizzly. That's your answer.
I like the chase. This one, and then also the other chase.
Is that genuinely your answer?
No, I'll think of something. You go.
It could be your answer if you want. I don't know if you're being serious.
I mean, like, I okay, but here's the thing. This sounds like the setting for an actual horror film, which is you go away to a summer camp that is like, oh wow, yeah, at some point during the summer, a scary man's gonna come out and be like, oh, he's gonna chase you around.
It's a Camp Grizzly thing.
Yeah, and then it turns out like the actor who was playing the killer has been murdered by the actual killer, and then they take their place, and then it's like, oh no, this is real now, and it's really stressful and sad.
What you're imagining a horrible scenario where you find yourself at a summer camp being hunted by a murderer.
Yeah, that's pretty much
not quite what I was having in mind.
It like everyone's always like, hey Liv, do you have any ideas? And I'm default back to like murderer chase around. Does murderer have knife? Scary.
I mean, along these lines, what if it was that, but the murderer actually wasn't killing people, it was just a pretend thing?
Well, that's the thing, Meehan. That was the original idea. But
but like, what if it tied in the story of like, oh, they've killed the real actor, this person's gonna kill her.
But then it's just an endless cycle of, oh, but actually the actor that was meant to be playing the actor, the actor who was meant to be,
But I've asked you to come up with your dream summer camp, not
this
something
might still be
horrible.
it. I don't know.
Something that you want to happen, not like, oh no, this could happen.
She's still like, yeah, this is it.
This is it. I love it.
I don't understand the problem.
Yeah, I've told you my answer. Okay.
Told you my answer. Don't know what the problem is.
Okay. Well, what if because all my favorite board games are horror based.
Well, that's fine. What we can pretend horror. They don't actually have to happen.
And that's the thing, me and Nick, once again, is that you don't think that it's real, but then it's a horror trope that actually is real.
It's
So
the perfect
basically, I
opportunity
never
to
have
actually
nice
get away
things.
with murder. Mhm.
I feel like we're just going around in circles. I can't convince you that like this you can have a fun time.
No one can
You've
ever.
got to drive it straight into like actual. Oh no, this is.
We're trying to tell you, a fun time is being constantly anxious that this is a real murder that's happened.
Yeah, because it's like that is my state of being anyway, like constantly anxious. But this time, maybe I'm the final girl. You know, like, yeah.
Okay.
Chase, what kind of thing would you like to see?
All right. Everyone makes their own dice, but you get a hatchet for the week, and you have to go find the perfect piece of wood and chop
Okay.
it down, and then whittle your own set of dice.
This is
That's
okay.
really good, but also
I
you mentioned
wasn't
hatchet, and I was like, is this a part of my idea? Or
Liv.
yes, hatchet. Carry on.
But also like, I mean, an actual summer camp would be the perfect opportunity to play a bunch of those like really thematic games that normally take place around campfires. Like I'm thinking like, how good would 10 Candles be played around a campfire at midnight? Or like Dread, or you could even do Sleepaway, J Dragon Sleepaway.
Sleepaway is very thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I just want to play a bunch of like one session RPGs around a genuine literal campfire in the middle of the woods. And I'd be spooked out, and it'd be awful and frightening, but very fun.
Great.
That sounds really cool. Yeah. Some people's suggestions have been Forgotten Waters pirate themed camp. Andy Horton said that, and they also said Barron Park summer camp. Can you imagine on like actual beds? Like, but then they're not gonna hurt you.
I've also, I think I've previously suggested in a segment of ours, because I have a one-track mind, I was like, what if I get to go away to like a tiny little like camp that's like a village, and then we're all villagers, and then there's a werewolf that comes out every night, and the werewolf takes
What does the werewolf do, Liv?
what do you think the werewolf does, man?
What does he do?
What do you think? What do you think the werewolf does?
I mean, going by what you said previously, the werewolf actually eats people, right?
No, here's the thing, Meehan. No, wait.
Okay.
Is that you can't have like a werewolf actor who gets eaten by an actual werewolf. I'm within the realm of reality enough to know that werewolves don't exist.
Okay.
So this would be a better
So
alternative.
it's just a person dressed as a werewolf.
Yeah, it's just a person dressed as a werewolf. They come up,
Okay.
they're like, "Arr," and then
Row.
give you like a
Okay.
furry hug.
A
and
furry
then-
hug.
Yeah, a very not
Yeah.
a furry hug, a furry hug. And then
Okay.
they take you away, and then you get to go sit in the waiting room or whatever. And then the rest of us get up in the morning and we
Mhm.
discuss like, oh, who died. Mhm.
Okay. That
Yeah.
sounds wholesome.
Right?
I actually am really into this, because there's a summer camp that I went to whenever I was like in middle school, like 10 to 13, something like that. And in the middle of the night, the counselors would like lead us on midnight hunts to the mess hall, and we'd go raid the pantry for like snacks and stuff like that.
That's
Oh,
cute.
that's so
But they
fun.
set it all up like they were not supposed to do that. They're like, we're the cool counselors, so we're gonna let y'all do this. And they
look at
actually like
them.
head us through the camp, and they were like, hold on, there's a night patrol. Y'all stay right here, stay very quiet. I'm gonna go distract them.
Oh,
Like thinking back, it's like absolutely it was all set up and everyone got to do it. But I think like if you did that, but do it like a tabletop, like especially like one night werewolf themed, like
Yeah.
that would just be incredibly fun.
You could
like-
absolutely lead me on a completely set up like excursion and being like a cool kid. Right, even now, with this information that you
Yes.
presented to me right now, and I would still be like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
love it.
Yeah, my buy-in, my suspension of disbelief is just ready. I'm
Yeah.
completely ready to buy in wholly.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a camp getaway. I am willing to believe anything you tell me within reason.
Kirsty says Obsession Summer Camp, just a Regency Victorian reenactment. What's Obsession?
I'm not familiar with Obsession.
I've never heard of
Really?
this. Is this a thing?
Obsession.
Liv, our research correspondent,
Hello.
please look up what this is.
An RPG.
It's an RPG.
I said, is it an RPG?
While Liv is searching that,
Yeah,
Kirsty.
Meehan, what about you? What about you? I don't think you've offered anything yet.
well, Kirsty also said quacks where you make weird potions.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that. That's fun. Like
Mhm.
you've all got cauldrons, and then you just chuck stuff in there. Hopefully, it blows up, and it's not actually like
Hopefully.
gonna
Hopefully
hurt
this is a
you.
fire hazard. Yeah.
Or like I would love to do. I think a social deduction game thing is fun. Obviously, like it can be worn out quite easily, so maybe not like
Not for me. Sorry.
not like a whole week or something, but maybe like a day where like you do a fully immersed like social deduction thing, like a murder mystery sort of thing, where look, all I want to do is I just want to wear like an outfit
Mhm.
and a big old dress and a big hat, and I want to speak in like an accent, and
Well,
I
that
just
is
want to do that.
very Pride and Prejudice thing, and I'm sure that there
Yes.
are things we can do around that. So
Yeah.
I want to do that in
We
a
could play Good
wood.
Society. Yeah, Good Society is one of the
Oh
favored
yeah, Good
Regency
Society.
games. We could have just a part of the summer camp where all the Regency nerds go and hang out, and then the rest of the camp will go and bully them.
Yeah, I'll go there. I'll go to the Regency bit, and then everyone else will want to leave because I'm the worst.
that's
They'll
not
be like,
not
"Oh
correct.
god,
You'll be
This-
in your element.
This
actually.
Duchess is too much. I cannot deal with her.
she's a nightmare." Just getting drunk and eating all the vol au
This bon ton just ain't too bon anymore.
Well, there was that
um,
game that was on Kickstarter that I'm trying to remember what it's called, but it was like I covered it for the site, and it was like turn of the century, like high society idiots going on adventures, and now I can't remember what it's called, but I love the idea
Bill
of
and
it.
Ted's Excellent Adventure.
What are you looking at?
I'm reacting to what you're saying.
Bill and Ted's
Okay.
Rad Regency.
Sam Dilk says Scythe Summer Camp where you build giant robots.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's next
Yeah.
level. Yeah, 1 year you make your own dice. The next you whittle your own giant mech.
Yeah, you build your own
Oh.
Gundam.
Me and I absolutely mentioned this to you before, but there's
Yeah.
a film called Austenland that you need to watch. It's
You
about a lady.
definitely have told me about this.
Yeah, it's because it's bad, but also really good, and also based around like Jane Austen stuff. Basically, a woman goes through a really bad breakup, and she's like, "I'm gonna go and live in Austen land for a little bit." It's basically the concept we've been talking about, where she goes to like a big Regency house, and then they
Mhm.
have to like dress up and role play as like Pride and Prejudice kind of adjacent characters.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Jennifer Coolidge is in it. That's all you need.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know Jennifer Coolidge?
I probably do, but I
Yeah, you
just
probably
don't know
do.
she's called that. But
Wow, she's Stifler's
Yeah, I
mom
mean-
from like American Pie. She's like,
never seen American Pie.
you've never seen American. This is
Why
why-
are you surprised by this?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are surprised that you've never seen American Pie. I feel like
Why? Not exactly.
Okay, what about Legally Blonde? You've seen Legally Blonde, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the bend and snap lady from Legally Blonde.
hmm
The one who's getting her hair like
Yeah.
her
Paulette.
friend who's
Paulette
Yeah.
from Legally Blonde.
the one who's trying to get the mailman.
No. Andy Horton says honey
What a
heist
bummer.
camp, where everyone
Unbelievable.
dresses up and plans to steal honey.
I'm down with
Sounds
that. I'm
fun.
down for pretending to be a bear. I've got an idea that I think Alex you will like. What about a root LARP? It's like
I
life-size
would love
chess,
that.
but it's root
We've
instead.
spoken about this before. I swear we had a conversation where we were like, we're gonna do a root LARP.
Do I get to be a cat girl?
Yeah, you get
Yes.
to be a cat girl. I get to be a bird person. And
I'll be a lizard cultist at like
Yeah,
very
Rex is
happily.
gonna be a lizard Carlton,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and Matt Jarvis is gonna be I don't know, a little vagabond guy who's just like hanging out.
He'll be a grimy possum, just like
Grimy possum.
just scrunching in the
Well,
woods.
Jackson returns, but he's a raccoon. So.
Yeah, and then we reenact a game of Root where I just beat the hell out of some people dressed as animals.
Yeah, you're just gonna huck pine cones at cat
Yeah,
girls.
yeah. I mean, because I get to be like a haughty owl,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I get to sit up in a tree. I don't know how I'm gonna get up in the tree because I'm not really good at climbing
Yeah,
trees.
good luck getting
but I'll
down.
find a way. Yeah, I'm gonna be up there and be like, "Go away, whoo hoo," like throwing pine cones down, and
I
then
have
like
a sawmill. I'll chop that tree down.
like
I'll do it.
2 hours later, I'm gonna be like, someone else.
No.
And no one will want to because I've been so rude to them.
Wow,
Brutalist,
this is
am I right?
this is just like a board game route. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just, yeah.
You're leaning
look,
into the character by having
I'm
no
just,
friends.
I'm just getting into the character. I don't actually mean any of these things.
I'm getting into character when I chop down the tree you're sat in.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god.
it's what it is.
Somebody is gonna get hurt.
We're gonna set a lot of fires, absolutely.
Well, like Chase is just squatting over skulls, and then like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm doing little chants and ululating and whatever else with lizards do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sneak in and say, "Hey neighbor, have you heard the good word about my skulls?"
Have you?
Oh, I have.
Nathaniel Levy said this should be a members video. Maybe we can convince Matt Jarvis that the health and safety hazards of this are worth doing. I mean, we were already having sort of conversations about it, like because of certain videos that we're planning to do. But
Yeah,
no
fly me
spoilers.
over. We'll paint our faces and go
Yeah.
squat in the heat for a couple hours and then put it on YouTube.
We'll find a forest that
It's
hopefully
forest
we
nearby.
won't have the police called on us because
Yeah.
we're squatting in someone's forest. We'll do it in like a public forest or something.
Yeah. Hey, don't tell Matt about this. Like, don't let him catch one
Yeah,
because he'll say
we
no. But
can't. Matt will never find out about this.
Matt,
There's
don't
no
watch
way
this
he
part of the
could.
video.
Don't watch.
He's
Yeah,
still
stop
stuck in the
watching.
box. He doesn't know.
No,
yeah,
he
he's-
doesn't know.
He's still in his cardboard box. He's fine.
Yeah,
He's free. He's so close to getting out.
he's almost out. He's almost out.
figured it out.
He lifted up the edge of the box like a little bit and dropped down.
He's sitting there.
Oh,
It's like
so-
that thing like
so
when you
close.
can't pick a card up off the table. He's like trying to get his fingers around it. Oh, come on.
Can't do it. Shame.
Nathaniel Levy says, "Liv, please make sure to angle the cut on the tree so it falls away from you."
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Nathaniel. Levy.
Yeah, that's just to help you out when you're
with my
You're
with my
cutting
very
the-
important venture.
the tree that I'm sat in down.
Yeah.
I love the image of Liv in cat ears, just like
Yeah, I'm up in the tree being
you
like,
hold on?
"Go away, go away, be gone!" Like throwing pine cones, and you're like cutting,
This is my section of the forest. Get
and
out
then
of here.
you suddenly just say, "Oh!"
I stuck in between, and then I'm just like,
perfect.
Yeah.
I love
I
this.
just fall out of the tree and probably break my leg.
good thing you got wings. You're fine.
Yeah, just fly.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's enough ridiculousness.
Yeah. that's enough.
If you have any ideas for a summer camp you would like to go to that's tabletop themed, comment on this video or send us an email at contact@dicebreaker.com.
An email.
An email.
Yay!
And let us know like what you would want to do. That's fun. Or even tweet us at Join Dicebreaker. We love your interaction.
Oh, we really do. Also, it would be really cool if you are thinking of commenting. Why not like and subscribe to Dicebreaker? Like this video and subscribe to Dicebreaker, youtube.com/Dicebreaker. And if you haven't got enough of that, you haven't got enough of us, you can always hit the join button right below the video. And join Dicebreaker Plus, where there may be, look, we don't know, there may be a video of us doing Root Camp. Root Camp is a good title for it because it's
Root
like
Camp.
Root Camp.
Yeah, it is perfect. We've got to do it now. And
Yeah.
then if you join, you also get to have a cool little die emoji thing next to your name, like Nathaniel Levy and Troost have, and it like levels up the longer that you have a membership. And you also get access
in the crowd. Love
yeah.
that.
You also get access to some lovely emojis that Nathaniel Levy's putting in the chat right now.
Yeah.
So all
to incorporate
all of that and more is available to you. Yeah. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Dicebreaker Podcast. I've been your host, Alex Meehan. I have been joined by the wonderful Liv Kennedy.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
And Chase Carter.
Also known as Small Jackman.
Small Jackman. Yeah, Small Jackman.
That's true.
Mrs. Squelch here. The next thing we got to do is Flushed Away reenactment.
The late Mrs. Welch. Look, if you want to put a Flushed Away RPG, I will make it happen. Just let us know. Get in touch.
Tell us. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We are here every Friday, 2 p.m. BST. please join us next week. But until then, thank you very much, and have a lovely day. Goodbye. God.